Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of our podcast. My name is Komal and I am the HR here at Thoughtball. So today we are joined by Ravi Asher, a team building facilitator at Thoughtball, who also plays a key role into managing, our day-to-day operations. So in this episode, we are talking about a quick sneak peek into the world of experiential learning. Now, quickly talking about Ravi, he basically brings a blend of practical insights and hands-on experience into designing meaningful learning journeys. So, from behind the scene plannings to the real-time facilitation, he will just walk us through the key elements that makes our experiential learning both impactful and unforgettable. So yeah, grab your coffees and let's get into the into what experiential learning really means, and why it might just change the way you think about learning altogether. So yeah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Komal. I think it's a pretty exciting thing to do today that is connecting with you for this podcast. And it's pretty exciting to talk about something that we have been working on experiential learning. And thank you so much for that grand welcome. It really means a lot. And I'm pretty excited to be talking with you. So, yes, you can shoot your
Okay.
questions.
The question that I can think of right now is, what exactly is experiential learning according to you?
I think for the very first thing, experiential learning, when we talk about it, it's pretty different from our traditional classroom learning. So, what happens in a classroom learning? A trainer would come, would teach about something, would train on something, would try to impart that knowledge to the participants. However, experiential learning stands quite different from that. It is more about, having fun, taking some experiences which are larger than life and understanding and drawing some conclusions or learning from the experiences that you have been through. So that's how experiential learning stands and differs from our traditional classroom training.
Even I used to think that, the classroom learning that we had in our school or in the universities, college, whatsoever, is kind of a boring learning session, which just, starts at a particular time and then ends at a particular time. And we just wait for that time to get over and, dive into our usual life. So, yeah. Um, Also, what do you think experiential learning works better than the traditional learning, training or not?
Komal, I personally believe that experiential learning is the right way to learn. So if you see today and the different kinds of trainings that we conduct, when a trainer comes and tries to impart the knowledge, the trainer is not really aware whether the participants have gained the knowledge or not. But talking about
Correct.
experiential learning, there's at least a guarantee that the participants would learn something out of the experience that they are going. So let me just ask you a simple question over here. Okay. So let's say a very simple question wherein, let's say you are talking with your mother, okay, regarding cooking a new dish. Okay. And
Right.
your mother is explaining you about how to make it versus you are actually trying to cook it and your mother is standing alongside you, just facilitating the things, just asking you the right set of questions that what do you think is the next ingredient that should go into cooking. That's where you will learn experience, where you will experience cooking. So what do you think, which approach is going to work better for you?
This is a tried and tested approach, obviously. Like I used to stand beside my mother and just watch her cook, and I learned nothing out of it. But then I usually go ahead and she stands right next to me, and I am the one taking charge and doing whatever thing is required. So that is what actually helped me to learn how to cook. So yeah, of course.
And that's exactly the difference between a traditional learning method versus an experiential learning method. An experiential learning method is wherein you actually get your hands dirty, you put your hands into the task and you do the task yourself. You experience the entire thing end to end rather than someone just coming and telling you how to do it. You actually understand how to do it, you actually experience how to do it. And that's how I feel that experiential learning works much better than the traditional learning approach.
Correct. And can you just give us any sort of example of what an experiential learning activity might look like according to you? In
Well, why
your
not? So let's talk about, so since I'm a facilitator, I'm bound to ask questions. So I'll
yeah,
ask you some questions. Have you ever been to weddings where you have seen drones flying?
absolutely, I have.
Has it ever fascinated you, like giving you that feeling, okay, I also want to try flying the drone?
Honestly speaking, I guess it did, but I didn't have the courage to, or
Go
also
and
I
ask.
didn't wanted to just buy a drone and, spend some time because it was of no use for me, according to.
And that's exactly where you talk about it, right? A lot of people in our corporate life, in their life, they want to experience a lot of things, but they never get a chance, or they never feel like putting that money or investing into that idea. And
Right.
that's where experiential learning comes into picture. So one of the amazing activities that I can talk about is drone flying activity, wherein the participants get into teams, they actually assemble the drones, and after assembling the drones, they actually get to fly it. So they race with each other, they race with the drones which they have made themselves. So apart from just having a better learning, it's also something wherein what you have experienced, what you have built is something that you are flying. So it also gives you a sense of achievement, unlike the traditional learning approach.
Also, there might be some positive outcomes out of it. People getting out of their comfort zone and learning something new, or like one more question that came across my mind. What are some common outcomes that you have seen, witnessed in your experience? People who go through these experiences.
Let's say when people are working or participants are working on assembling these drones and flying it, right? They experience the technology behind it, they experience the mechanism behind it. And not just that, since they are working in teams, they also understand how to work better as a team, how to make it more
Correct.
creative, how to ensure that everything that you are working on is working with precision, it is working as desired. So a few learning outcomes that I could think of right now on top of my mind, one would be is team bonding, wherein you work as a team and you know how other people in the teams behave. Talking about the second one, it could be collaboration, wherein you might be missing out on some material, some elements. You can always go to other teams and ask for help. And the
Right.
third one could be creativity, wherein you are ensuring that you are putting in your creativity into the task that you are doing and giving it the best outcome that you can.
And is there any particular learning method or model or a theory that you people follow while you are delivering these kind of trainings to the people?
So theory is a word that we are afraid of as facilitators, and
Okay.
experiential learning doesn't go with theory at all. It is always about a practical approach. And one of the models that I could think of right now is the David Kolb's experiential learning model. So it talks about four phases that a person goes through in the process of experiential learning. So the first phase is experiencing the activity, or experiencing, taking the experience of that particular thing. Once that is done, the second phase is about reflecting onto what? Onto the different types of challenges, the learning that you may have seen and experienced while you were experiencing the activity. Once you
Hmm.
have reflected upon it, you go for the conceptualization. So you draw some concepts out of these, and these concepts are nothing but the key learning outcomes. And once you have drawn these concepts, what you do is you simply draw a line to your real working life, or even your real personal life if you want, and you apply all of these concepts in your professional or personal life, as to how to work
Hmm.
better as a team, how to ensure that every task that we do has got some sort of creativity attached to it. So these are the different types of learning outcomes that people can use
Hmm.
by following the Kolb's experiential learning model.
I guess in that case, people not only, take it as a task to just complete it and get it done with it. I think people also enjoys working through it, putting in their ideas, their creativity, innovating something new. So I guess this blends in actually very perfectly here. So, have you, how, no, I think, how do you ensure people, actually apply what they actually learn from these experiences into their real life?
Well, yes. So this has been a question from a lot of our clients as well. That how do we ensure that whatever they have experienced or whatever they have conceptualized is something that they are going to apply in their real work life, right? And the simple answer to this is the key element of the entire session, entire learning experience, which is the debrief part. So what happens in debrief? In debrief, after they have done and gone through the entire experience, we ask them a few questions, and these questions are related to the kind of learning that they have gone through. So the reflection phase that we talk about is actually the debrief. Once they have given us the concept, the key learning outcomes that they have gone through, what we do is we stitch it into under one single umbrella, and we give them a call to action. When I say call to action, let's say you have got three learning outcomes out of one experience that you have been through. We ask you to ensure that, from today onwards, how you are going to implement this in your life. And you don't only answer this question rhetorically, it's more about a discussion going around with the participants and, the people sitting around with you. So when you discuss it with them, it stays with you for a longer time. And that's how we ensure that people start applying the concepts that they have learned.
Okay, in that case, I think you might have, witnessed different kind of individuals. So, like even I, as an HR, have seen, whenever I try to keep a fun, light day, basically the fun Fridays. So there are kind of people, someone who's not at all interested into these particular things, and yet they tend to, just uh, be there for formality, and yet there are some people on the other hand who are very excited. So have you also witnessed these kinds of individual in your experience?
If people are not differentiated by these factors, no meeting, conference, or intervention is complete without that. So
Correct.
it always happens that there are a few people who are a little less excited about things, some people who are hyper excited about things. And when we talk about these people, the things that work the best for them is getting them into a single team. So when we talk about having these kind of conversations and having these kind of challenges in our day to day professional life as well, it only happens because everybody is working in a team, and in every single team we need to respect each and everyone's different behavior. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happens in experiential learning. They come along as a team, they learn about each other's behaviors, and they try to empower each other rather than, sabotaging somebody who is not showing the right kind of behavior. So you try to empower, encourage such people who show little lesser excitement, and you tell them, you hold them accountable for whatever they are doing, and you ensure that they are also working with equal enthusiasm, just like others, just like the hyper excited folks.
Right. In that case, there might be some people who have these what do you call it, misconceptions about these experiential learning, like the outcomes that they think, or basically they must be thinking this experiential learning is just for the sake of it and there's no learning in it. So how do you tackle these kind of people?
Well, it happens a lot of times. So what happens is the basic imbalance that we usually face is experiential learning is always associated with a few learning outcomes. However, what participants come to the room with having something in mind as a learning outcome is fun, is enjoyment, is kind of an escape from their daily work life,
Right.
which of course is true. We are going to have
Yeah.
all of these elements, but at the same time it is very important to set the context for them, that whatever we are going to do, we are going to ensure that we are going to have these learnings with us, and we are going to take these away with us when we leave the room. So that's the basic ask that we have from all the participants. We set this context, and then debrief completes it all. Debrief makes it a complete picture for them. And then finally, the call to action, which they take away from the room, is something which they start
Right.
applying on day-to-day basis.
Right. And how would you suggest someone experience this kind of learning if they are pretty new to it?
I want to just put this across. Since we are talking about experiential learning, right? We talked about the four phases of experiential learning. And
Hmm.
experiential learning is always incomplete without actually experiencing it. So, a very
Right.
simple thing that I can give over here, a suggestion that I can give is that you simply come to the thought bubble. You ask us, you give us your objectives, you tell us about what are the things that you are wanting to impart into your participants. We will give you the, we'll suggest the activities to you, and then you experience it with your participants. That's where you will understand how well experiential learning works rather than the training. That is the regular classroom training that we usually talk about.
I think this was such an insightful chat with you, Ravi. For me, what I could gauge is experiential learning is more than just an activity. It's basically a mindset of people, what they think while coming to these sort of workshops or maybe trainings. And not just that, while experiencing the whole scenario, when they go back home, what is it that they take within them in terms of experiential learning? So thank you so much for breaking it down today here. And to anyone who's listening, we hope you walk away with a new, a fresh perspective, and on how powerful learning through experiences can really be. So thank you so much, Ravi.
Thank you so much, Komal, for inviting me. It was a pleasure connecting with you. Amazing session. Thank you so much, Komal.
Same here. Bye bye. Have a good
Bye
day.
bye. Have a good day.
Bye.